Let's go ahead and then look at what is value of supply. The section would be the easiest one to teach you. Okay, the easiest section to teach you would be the section 15. Okay, I'll tell you why I'm saying it's the easiest one. Okay, suppose I'm selling a mobile phone to Shravani. Yeah, so for 10,000 rupees. Okay, the mobile phone I'm selling to Shravani is for 10,000 rupees. What is the value of supply? 10,000 over. Chapter is over. Okay. You understood the value. Value is nothing but transaction value. The whole concept of indirect taxes lies in this. You pay tax on the transaction value. The government's intention is also very clear. Government says that I wanted to ensure that the value is transaction value, which is the fundamental concept of any indirect taxes for that matter, is that value is nothing but transaction value. But there is a fairness in terms of doing a value, right? They're saying that I might not be always be able to trust the transaction value. What is transaction value? It's nothing but the price paid or payable. Like I sold you the mobile phone and the price of the mobile phone happened to be 10,000 rupees and the value would be 10,000. That's the whole idea. But sometimes I might not be able to trust this value because it might not be giving you a fair valuation to the transaction. When will I not have a fair valuation to the transaction? I'll tell you. Suppose the same mobile phone I'm selling to Teja. Assume Teja is my brother, wholly dependent on me. Makes you a related person under GST. Related person, family member is a related person. Family member includes spouse and children always. Brother, sister, parents, grandparents only if they are wholly or mainly dependent. Wholly dependent. Teja becomes my brother, a related person. Would I sell this mobile phone which is worth 10,000 for the same 10,000 to Teja? Or would I be selling at a cheaper price to Teja? I would be selling it a little more cheaper, right? Suppose I sell it at 5,000 to Teja. Now the value here or the price that we have here is 5,000. Can I adopt this 5,000 and then call it as the value? Would it represent the actual value of the supply? No. So they put a condition saying that to take the value or the price of 10,000 as the value, the transaction should not be happening between a related person. So we look at the transaction and analyze. The supplier and the recipient should not be related person. If they are related person, I do not trust the transaction value, the price. Because the ideal value or the fair market value or the open market value would be a different value. Okay, so the open market value here is 10,000, but the price at which I sold to the related person is 5,000. Don't trust 5,000. Take something else as the value. Are you guys understanding? Is it clear? Okay, then next is, I'm saying there's one more case where I would not be able to trust value. Okay, say I'm selling the same 10,000 worth mobile phone. Okay, I'm selling the same 10,000 worth mobile phone. Suppose I'm selling it to Charan. Charan has an old mobile phone which is worth 3,000 rupees. He's giving it to me. So what is the price which I'll collect from him? 7,000. Understanding? Instead of collecting 10,000, I would be collecting 7,000. Understanding? Okay. So I'm collecting 7,000, but can I say is 7,000 the only consideration that I received for the supply? No. Basically, I get 7,000 plus a 3,000 worth old mobile phone. But can I adopt this 7,000 as the value of my supply? No. Because price does not represent the entire value here. Because my consideration is not having only price. I'm having something else also as consideration. So to adopt a value as the transaction value, whatever consideration that I get as price must be the only consideration. If I get some other consideration, like like an exchange case of a barter case, can I adopt the value as the, can I adopt the value from the price that I've received? No. So in the example that I've given you, the price is 7,000. I should not take 7,000 as the value because 7,000 is not the only consideration. Or we can say to take 7,000 as the value, 7,000 must have been the only consideration. Or we can say to take transaction value as the value under section 15, price must be the only consideration I get. Then I can adopt that price and take it as the value. Now, if the price is not the only consideration, don't take that price as the transaction value. So we said the second condition for you to take price as the value or transaction value as the value under section 15, price must be the only sole consideration for the supply. So how many conditions to be satisfied? Two conditions to be satisfied to trust the transaction value of 10,000. What are the two conditions? The supply should not be between related person and the price must be the only sole consideration for the supply. If that both conditions are satisfied, I would take the transaction value and tell that this transaction value of 10,000 will be the value under section 15. On this value, you apply the GST rate, you will get what is the GST payable. Understanding? Okay. Now I'm telling you, value is nothing but transaction value, provided these two conditions are satisfied. If these two conditions are not satisfied, let's say don't take the transaction value, go to valuation rules. It will tell you how to adopt a value for a particular supply. Understanding? Okay. Now, next very important discussion is this. What is the intention of the supplier? Let me put out the question with an example. What is the intention of the supplier when it comes to value? Ultimate burden of taxes is on the consumer. As far as supplier is concerned, supplier does not pay GST from their pocket. Only thing that they do is collect GST and then remit it to the government. That's the only responsibility that the supplier has. So as far as supplier is concerned, whatever may be the value, the supplier need not to be caring, right? Because anyway, they're just collecting and then paying. Is that so? Or will the supplier try to reduce the value for the purpose of GST? Or they are indifferent of the value? Or will they try to reduce the value? They'll try to reduce the value still. Why? We just discussed about ultimate burden being on the consumer, and still why would the supplier be reducing the value? Because that will impact their price. Understanding? So if there are two suppliers, one guy is selling mobile phone for 10,000 and charging GST of 900, would be selling it for 10,900 versus somebody who's having a value of 10,000 and 1,800 as GST would be selling it for 11,800. More people are going to purchase it from the 10,900 person. Understanding? Now, just because, so what is the objective of a supplier? To reduce the price of the product. They're going to have value also reduced. That's the case. To reduce the, I wanted GST to be lesser. So I wanted the value to be lower. So I will sell my 10,000 worth of product at 5,000. Will they do that? Will they sell the product at 10,000 worth product less GST? No, I will sell it at 5. Will they do that? No, nobody will do that, right? Because that will reduce their profit also. So what is that they want? They want a very different combination. They want to collect how much from the customer? 10,000 itself. But GST department is coming and asking them what's the value? Say 5,000 is the value. Balance 5,000 is something else. They want to do something like this. Right? This is what exactly the combination they want. They want to get the entire 10,000 from the customer. But for the GST department, the value that I show would be 5,000. Can they do like that? Can they do like that legally? So that's the question. Okay. You can always do without bills, but because the general answer could be, for a practical sense, would be will 5,000, then balance 5,000, get it in cash. That's not the answer I'm asking. Can you do that legally planned? There are ways in which people do it. Okay, I'll tell you, the government is also aware of that. That's why there are certain provisions that has come. I'll tell you the reason how you can plan it. Okay, say I'm selling the product to Mokshi. Say I'm selling the product to Mokshi, and then the 10,000 is the value. But what my intention? Value has to be reduced to 5,000. But I want to still collect from Mokshi how much itself? 10,000 itself. Okay. So I'm telling Mokshi, I will give you an invoice for 5,000 and GST of 900, 18%. 5,900 I'll give you the bill. So value is 5,000, GST is 900. I'm correct in all that aspect. But what is my intention? How much I want to collect in my box? 10,000 itself. Now I'm telling Mokshi, don't pay this week, pay next week. So there is a delay in payment of taxes. So there is delay. I'm charging you interest 5,000. And I'm going back to the exemption provision and saying interest on loans or advances is exempt. So I'm collecting 5,000 interest, 5,000 the original value. This 5,000 I would say exempt only. Are you guys understanding? So I go 10,000. 5,000 is the value for the purpose of GST. Balance 5,000 is exempt. So they'll generally do what? They'll split the value into two categories. One GST not applicable, the other one GST applicable. So I get both. I tell GST department only half of this would be shown as value for you because other one is not subject to GST. This is the normal method they'll do. Split the value into two segments. One is not added, the one is added. This is what the general intention of the supplier. When I say I want to reduce value, nobody will reduce the value in such a way that they will collect less. They'll collect more from the customer, but whatever they collected will not be declared as value. They'll declare a lower amount as value. This is the issue that the government had to face. But the government also wanted to find a provision for that. So they said, if at all you do this splitting and collect something else, section 15 says that add it back to the value. Problem solved. 15(2)(d). Interest for delayed payment of consideration will be included in value if not already included. There's a provision that is drafted for that. Now can I do this? No. My value as per the invoice is 5,000. Interest I collected will be added to the value 10,000. GST will be on the 10,000. This is what they're doing basically. So value under section 15 is not merely transaction value under section 15(1), because sometimes people will collect beyond transaction value later. They'll split and collect. They said add it back to the value. And what are the things to be added? I have put it under 15 subsection 2. What if I've given a genuine discount? Can I reduce it from the value? Yes. So what is value under section 15? Now look at our provision and then try to understand, read it from the screen. What is value under section 15? Value under section 15 is transaction value under section 15(1) plus items to be included in value under section 15(2) minus discount under section 15(3). This is the valuation provision for you. All of them has to be understood in respect. You will have to understand 15(1), you will have to understand 15(2), you will have to understand 15(3). Only those item in 15(2) will be added back. Only those kind of discount under 15(3) will be reduced. Provided, when would you take this whole transaction value concept under section 15 itself to your value? Only if two conditions are satisfied. What is the number one condition? Supplier and recipient should not be related person, and the price must be the only sole consideration for the supply. Understanding? Then you would take this particular valuation. You guys understanding? Okay, can we repeat once and then go ahead? So your entire initial discussion is only to understand 15(1), 15(2), 15(3). Done. Okay. So value under section 15 is transaction value under section 15(1) plus items to be included in value if not already under 15(2) minus the discount under section 15(3), provided supplier and recipient are not related person. Price is the sole consideration for the supply. With me? What if it's not satisfied? What if the conditions are not satisfied? If conditions are not satisfied, then the value will be determined under CGST valuation rules. With me? So valuation rule would start. You will have from 26 onwards to learn all of them. Okay, so all the valuation rules would be giving you how to value if it's a related person, how to value if it's an exchange, how it is an agent, what is a special valuation rules, and all that we will have to learn. Okay, and amendments, all that. Now, first and foremost, understanding about valuation would be to understand what is 15(1) transaction value, what is 15(2) items to be included in value, what is 15(3) discount. Can we go ahead and then do that? Okay, I'll give you examples for all of this. First one. What is transaction value? Transaction value is defined as, back and back, we'll have to come back to this. What is transaction value under section 15.1? It's price paid or payable for the supply. Notional amounts which are waived and not payable will never be added back to the value. Say an electronics and grocery supplier is supplying a pressure cooker, and they have an offer that is being running called as the pressure cooker that otherwise valued at 10,000 is being sold at 2,000 now. All these product offers will be there, right? Buy iPhone for 999. We've seen that big newspaper advertisement, right? Get an iPhone for 999, then there will be a star mark. You pay 999 forever. From today onwards, you will start paying 999 for next 3 years. That's the whole idea that they're saying, you will get it for 999, but you will have to pay it as an EMI for very long number of years. Likewise, there's an offer, 10,000 worth pressure cooker is available for just 2,000. Pongal offer. Something. Okay. But 2,000 you pay now, another 2,000 into 4 installments you will pay. So you'll basically pay 10,000 overall. What will be the value of supply? 10,000. Price paid and payable. However, because of this Pongal offer, otherwise 500 rupees charged spoons are given free with this. What will be the value? 10,000 itself. Should I add this 500 as the value? No. Notional amount which are waived and whatever is not payable will never be added back to the value. That's the first understanding. So transaction value is defined as price paid or payable for the supply. Okay, now let's look at what is 15 subsection 2 talking about. 15 subsection 2 says, if not already included in value, following items would be additionally included in value. There are 5 clauses that I've given as a single chart for you to analyze. Okay, so we will first go through all the 5. Okay, then we will make detailed understanding of each of it. We'll also try to see if there is an examination tip that we need to carry in our understanding. Option A, there are multiple clarification also that has come on top of this, which we will discuss separately. Clause A talks about taxes, duties, cesses, fees, and charges levied under any law other than GST and cess. What does cess means? GST compensation cess. So when I say cess in GST, it means GST compensation cess. We had a discussion on compensation cess, right? Like the states needs to be compensated, so they added an additional cess. Yes. Okay, now 5 years and then it's extended till 26 and all that we have discussed. Anyway, so first one, it says taxes, duties, cess, fees and charges levied under any law other than GST and cess, if charged separately by supplier from recipient, will be added to the value. Clause B, what clause B says? It's one sentence I've divided into words and words. Says direct third party payment by recipient on behalf of supplier in relation to supply should be added to the value of supply. Clause C says incidental expenses incurred by the supplier in relation to supply at the time or before the goods are ready for delivery or supply of services charged by supplier to recipient will be added to the value. Then clause D says interest late fee penalty for delayed payment of consideration to be added to the value. Okay. I've given two notes there. Now, number one, such interest late fee penalties will have a separate time of supply under section 12.6 and 13.6. Time of supply for such enhanced consideration would be date of payment of interest late fee penalty. Number two, it is generally assumed that such interest late fee penalty are inclusive of GST. Hence, the value would be interest late fee penalty into 100 divided by 100 plus GST rate. Clause E says subsidy is directly linked to the price. It could be government subsidy or non-government subsidy. If it is government subsidy, it can be reduced from value. If it's non-government subsidy, it cannot be reduced. If it's already reduced, it should be added back to the value of supply. Note, indirect subsidy, like subsidy for setting up plant, need not to be reduced from value. Then, there is one circular also. TCS under Income Tax Act 1961 does not have characteristics of taxes mentioned above, hence it is not included. There is a point like that as well. We'll try to analyze this. Can I? Okay, so shall we look at each one of them? So what is the idea of all of this? If you've already included this in value, I don't have to include it again. But what is that you would have done ideally? What was the logical point I said? People would have split the amount by saying this is not included in value. But if it is coming under any 5 of these clauses, what you should do? Add it back to the value. So your value would actually increase. You guys with me? Okay. Now, let's look at the first one, clause A. What is that clause A talks about? Taxes, duties, cesses, fees and charges levied under any law other than GST and GST compensation cess, if charged separately by supplier from recipient, will be added to the value. They're saying GST must be the last taxes that I'm levying. Whatever you're collecting other than GST will have to be added to the value, and then top of it you add GST. There are three cases that you will have this implication. Very commonly tested with three cases. Number one, excise duty on tobacco. We have learned something very different for excise duty. We said excise duty on tobacco is not removed after introduction of GST. So which means that on tobacco and tobacco product, we have both excise duty on tobacco as well as GST. Then the question is, when should I levy GST? Should I levy after levying excise duty or before levying excise duty? What will be my value for the purpose of GST? They said value would be value plus excise duty because of section 15 subsection 2 clause A. Similar, we have learned something about entertainment taxes. What is special about entertainment taxes levied by local authority? That is also not subsumed under GST. On movie tickets, if I want, I can have entertainment taxes. On top of it, I can have GST. So when should I levy GST? After adding entertainment taxes. Municipal taxes, there are a lot of municipal taxes that is still being levied apart from GST, will also be added to the value, and top of it I will levy GST. Let's look at it with an example. Say, ITC is manufacturing tobacco and tobacco product. Now, tobacco and tobacco product is demeritated goods. You both have excise duty as well as GST on top of it. Now, the value of tobacco and tobacco product 100 grams assumed to be 10,000. What are the taxes that will be levied on tobacco and tobacco product? The rates I have given are on just merely for example's sake. Excise duty is there 10%. GST 18%. Compensation says 28%. What will be the MRP, maximum retail price, including taxes on this 100 grams of tobacco? Excise duty will be levied on what value? 10,000. That's the value of the manufactured tobacco. So 10% excise duty means 1,000 rupees will be added. Now GST assume is at 18%. Assume is at 18%. What will be the GST? What will be the GST amount that I will have to levy? Whether GST will be levied on 10,000 or 10,000 plus 1,000. 10,000 plus 1,000. Reason, as per section 15 subsection 2 clause A, excise duty will become any taxes other than GST. Is it collected from the customer? Yes. So if there is other taxes other than GST collected from the customer, you will have to add that taxes to the value, then apply GST. Wouldn't that be double taxation then? Yes. Is it an accepted double taxation? Yes. It's a demeritated product. Or for every product, GST says that if there is any taxes other than GST, it's an accepted double taxation. So you will levy taxes. On top of it, you will have GST levied. So which means the value for the purpose of GST here would be 11,000 into 18% would be 1,980. Assume that on the tobacco, the compensation cess is not a rate as such. There is based on per kilograms. This kind of a rate is also there. Now, but assume it is 28% compensation cess. On what value would I levy compensation cess? Is it levied on GST or is it levied on value for computing GST? Value for computing GST. I have already told you this, that if I have 28% cess and 18% GST, it is as good as saying I have 18 plus 28. That's like, it's as good as saying I have 46% GST, because the value determined for the purpose of computing GST is the same value on which I will have compensation cess. So don't get tricked by the word cess there. It's like another full length taxes itself. So it will be 28% on 11,000, that's 3,080. So that means that the MRP at which the product is sold to the customer would become 16,060. 10,000, 1,000, 1980, 3080. All this I have to add, which means that even the excise duty, cess, GST, everything at the end of the day is collected from the customer. So that's also a very important one. When will I add something to the value? Only if I collect it from the customer. Okay, something that I have received, I have collected. So what is that? ITC would try to do here. IT would say that my value is only 10,000, because this 1,000 is not my value of supply. It is excise duty that I'm collecting from you. I say no. Any taxes other than GST if you collect, add it to the value, and that will also be subject to GST. Are you understanding this? Okay. Say a shopping mall. This is quite famous mall in Cochin called as Lulu Shopping Mall. There's a group called Lulu Group, which is putting malls everywhere literally. Okay, Ahmedabad there is one. Lucknow there is one. I think there's one planned in Hyderabad. It's like going to be the largest or something. Yeah. This quite famous group from Dubai basically. So the founder chairman is actually a Keralite. Okay, so but then super rich guy. Fancied by buying helicopters every now and then. He buys new helicopters. Like we buy the helicopter toy, he buys the original one. That's only difference. Anyway, so okay, his name is Yusuf Ali. Yeah, so it's quite famous guy. They're in Kerala, but then comes from a very normal background, and then started a retail shop, and then became like huge wealth accumulated by the now. Anyway, so Lulu Shopping Mall has given one of their shops on rent for 1 lakh rupees. Their contract says that if Lulu Mall incurs any municipal taxes, a portion of this taxes will be recovered from the tenant or whoever has taken it on rent. Okay. So in the month of January 2022, they have recovered an additional 5,000 as a part of municipal taxes that is paid by Lulu Mall, recovered as per the contract. What will be the value for January? They said it will be 1,05,000 because that will become a 15(2)(a) item, the tax that is paid. Okay, so any taxes that is being paid and then finally collected from the customer other than GST would be included in the value for the purpose of GST. There's one clarification that we have there. Let's look at that clarification. Let's read it. TCS under Income Tax Act 1961. Pretty sure you've studied all the TCS provisions already. TCS under Income Tax Act 1961 does not have the characteristics of tax mentioned above, hence it is not included. I'll take the look at the logical viewpoint of TCS. Okay. Now I've already taught you TCS in GST, right? So the whole idea of TCS in income tax is quite different. Look at this. Why there is, income tax TCS? Same logical answer is the thumb rule. Ease of collection of taxes, right? TCS is also a product of that thought only, that people are not paying taxes. How do I collect more taxes? And to collect more taxes, I need to have some kind of a method. The contrast is the reason. Okay, I'll give you some. I used to talk about it quite, elaborately when I talk about outsourcing and then how other countries versus India would work in terms of tax collection. The last data that if you look at would understand that how much percentage of Indians do pay income tax? How much do you think? 50%? It's 5 to 6%. Okay, I mean, like, I cannot say pay taxes, I would say file returns, because like half of that return is nil return. So not say pay taxes, and only in millions people pay or people declare they have more than 10 lakh as their taxable income. That's astonishingly not correct numbers, right? Can you imagine in a country like India, we don't have even 1 crore people earning more than 10 lakh? No, of course not. You contrast this with the consumption, it does not match. Okay, for sure. So last time I spoke to a luxury car dealer. A friend of mine is running he's working with a luxury car dealer in Kerala, Mercedes car dealer. He's not the dealer, he's an employee there. Okay, so he was talking to me and I was asking him how the business is going. So he was giving me a number for a new car got released in India. So the Tata is now owning the JLR, right? Land Rover and the Jaguar. So they released the car that was there only in Middle East and other places. They released in India there's a vehicle for Land Rover called as Defender. Okay, so they released this vehicle in India. The entire thing, almost everything is imported. Okay, they'll let you customize so much. And the car cost anywhere between 1.4 crores to some 3 crore rupees. Like you have so much of customization option that's available. And he was saying Tata has already, I think they launched it last year, somewhere in the mid. So Tata has already sold more than 1,000 units. They didn't even expect. If you go to Kochi today, you would find one Maruti, one Defender. I mean, like, I had 3 of my friends who wanted to buy a Defender, drop the plan. Okay, one bought already. The other 2 has already dropped the plan because they thought they will buy Defender so that they can distinguish between others. And they go to the road. There's one Defender here, one Defender there. So people have so much of money with them. It's just that we don't know that there is I don't know, I've not seen that much Defender in Guntur, but in Kerala, because it's very popular in Middle East, and all the Mallus are there in Middle East. They see this Defender every now and then suddenly like, okay, I'll take a loan also, I'll buy this stuff. Okay, so they say they feel it like part of their egoistic materialistic need, which meets them feeling like, okay, that'll give me I'll associate myself with my vehicle and I'll get more value because my vehicle is costly. So very difficult situation to be in, but if it gives you happiness, who's stopping you? If you have money, you buy it. That's a big deal. At least you're contributing GST to the government, right? So it's okay. So much of vehicle. So this is something that's an astonishing number, because your percentage of people who have large amount of taxable income is very less. But the Mercedes guy was also telling about his no, target. He said Mercedes has already finished the target. I was talking about mid of the year, like I was talking to him about in December. He's saying already target met. The number of cars they were supposed to sell, they've already sold it. Their target is too small. They thought a luxury car in India, who's gonna buy? They met it in half year. It's like, I don't know. He's saying, I don't know what's happening in here. Everybody wants to buy this car, it seems like. And a Mercedes car would cost 60, 70 lakhs. 70 lakhs on a car. It's really high for an Indian standard, right? We, our, our parents' generation used to come from buying a Wagoner only kind of, generation, right? We used to buy like 5, 6 lakhs is enough for a vehicle. That was the allocated budget. Completely changed, especially with NRI money that is coming in. Like if somebody is working abroad, for them 60, 70 lakhs is not a big deal. They'll just take a loan and then they'll set it off. They can just meet that. Okay, so there were a lot of money that is being sent out from there, and then now the whole part of buying luxury car has been part of people's thing. Anyway, so the government is looking into this data which is not matching. Now they're saying, like, how do I make more people come under the tax net? Indians are tax savvy people, right? Like, we wanted to pay taxes on time and all. No. Get all. Take the blood, red blood cell, white blood cell, tax evasion. Inside blood only. That is our nature. Like, we pay more money to evade taxes than the actual taxes. Paying taxes would have been cheaper. I said, no, I will spend more money so that I can. I won't, because I don't want to come into the tax net at all. Okay. So we know that that's the structure that is being there. It's not. I used to make this a contrast with US. What is there in US? 50% people, like, it's almost half of their population is filing tax returns. So basically, if you look at Indian number of tax returns being done with 142 crore versus 30 crore odd, I'm just rounding off their numbers, okay? 30 crore people in US, half of them, 15 to 20 crore people do actually file. Like the last data was like huge. That many number of returns are being filed. 50% compared to India, wherein like we have 1.4 billion and we pay like 5 to 6 crores. Okay. They have the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, the Income Tax Department, their data says some 20 million or something in terms of the processing of returns that they have done. So they're saying 20 million must be more than that. Like they're talking about having like having like around 50 to 60% of the people filing returns. So it's like 3-4 times of us in US, because one is for sure Indians do not, we have a basic exemption limit, right? We should make more money than that to first pay taxes. That's also there, like, because our per capita would not be that high. But even if you look at that perspective, there are a lot of people escaping taxes. So they said, how do I catch these people at the time of consumption? What if I ask, if they buy, they're not coming under tax net, but they're buying heavy value or heavy priced items, they're processing all that. So what if I ask the sellers to ask the customers to take a PAN number and then collect some taxes from them? That's the whole idea of TCS. So TCS, in the section you would have learned about a TCS applicable to motor vehicle for that perspective. Okay, more than 10 lakhs, if you're supposed to do 1% TCS, right? Now let's take an example and then try to contrast it with GST. Say Mr. Raju wants to buy a Honda City. Okay, 15 lakh is the price of it. 28% GST is applicable. Now Raju is buying Honda City from this dealership called as Perfect Honda. Okay, this is the dealership. Now Perfect Honda will have to collect, apart from this 15 lakh, a 1% TCS from Raju. Now Raju will be asked to take what number? PAN number, for sure. Because to do TCS, I need to ask the customer to take a PAN. So he comes under to the tax net first. That's the whole idea. Now I'm bringing 1% into the tax net. How much would be the TCS amount? 15,000, 1%. 15,000. So on the ex-showroom value will apply, 1%. Okay, so that will be 15,000, right? 15,000. Now on the ex-showroom value, you apply 1%, that will be 15,000 rupees. Now this 15,000 rupees will be additionally collected, right? So 15 lakh plus 15,000 rupees. The question that I have for all of you is this 15,000 a tax other than GST, right? Now, what is that we have learned in section 15, subsection 2, clause A? Any taxes other than GST, if I collected from the customer, will be added to the value. So there was a confusion. Should I add this 15,000 also into the value? They said no, because this 15,000 has absolutely no connection with the car. Is it a tax on the car? No. This will be deposited as a tax on the car? No. This will be deposited against the PAN number of Raju. It is just a medium in which to bring Raju under tax net. What if Raju does not have any income? What if his taxable income less than the basic exemption limit? He has taken full loan only. He can take the refund of this 15,000 rupees. So it does not have the characteristics of taxes mentioned. Are you guys understanding this? Okay, so whatever 15,000 that he has collected will not be added to the value is the clarification that we have. All your TCSs has no connection with the product. It's just the high value that the income tax department is interested in. Is it the car that income tax department is interested in? No, it's not a tax on car. But if they had some other taxes on the car, then that will be added. You guys understanding? So they said they do not have a characteristics of the taxes mentioned above. The tax mentioned above is a tax on the supply. The earlier example of entertainment taxes is on the tax on the supply. Tobacco's excise duty is a tax on the supply. Municipal taxes is on the tax on the renting the property. But it has no connection with the product that you are actually selling. Okay, so what will be the value in this particular case? 15 lakh itself. Would not be 15 lakh, 15,000. With me? Okay. That's your first clarification that you need to understand. Clause B. What is clause B? Direct third party payment by a recipient on behalf of supplier in relation to supply will be added to the value. Each of these wordings are important. If anything is missing, will not be added to the value. The only method in which people try to reduce value is to leave the third party cost of the supply will be directly paid out by my customer, and then I would save some amount there if the actual supplier happened to be an unregistered person, the third party. Then there would not be any tax impact on top of it, and I can exclude that from the value is the thought process in which this is structured. Let's read it. Let's look at an example and then try to elaborate this point. They're saying direct third party payment is made by the customer, the recipient, and this is on behalf of supplier. It's a payment that should have been otherwise made by the supplier, been met by the customer, and the supplier intends to exclude this from the value of supply. Will not be possible. If it is in relation to the supply, should be added back to the value under 15 to B. Let's look at an example onto the screen. Radha is a businesswoman. Radha is planning to purchase a certified machinery. Certified machine as in like, say, a lot of machinery that is being purchased might require to be certified as new machine if they need a subsidy or something, because people generally will try to so in India, if there is any subsidy or any government scheme, the first thought of them is not how can I take this subsidy and grow my business. They would think, how can I take the money out of this without doing any business? So they'll try to profit out of the subsidies. That's the first thing. So if there is a subsidy on purchase of 1 crore machine, government says we'll give you 50 lakhs if you purchase 1 crore machine. You will go to some second-hand machine seller, purchase a machinery worth 10 lakh, but ask him a bill of 1 crore. Okay. Then you go to the government and say that I bought a machine for 1 crore. Ask the government 50 lakhs. So you get 50 lakh subsidy, 10 lakh you pay to that guy, You would pay some, yeah, 40 lakhs with you. You might pay another 5 lakh to him for giving an excess bill. Okay, so this is how generally they'll manage this whole stuff. Okay, so it's just the thought process. So multiple times they'll put a condition. The government would say that it has to be certified as a new machine. Then only I'll give you that. So Radha is genuine, honest, integrity is there with her. So she is planning to do the business and she wants to purchase only a certified machinery. The certified machinery would cost her 1,10,000 rupees and she's purchasing it from the company called Caterpillar. Caterpillar says Radha that I'll give you the machinery. I have appointed a person, as a chartered engineer to do the certification. He's charging me 10,000 rupees. Why don't you pay this 10,000 directly to the engineer and I will give you a bill of 1 lakh. That's the idea. Are you guys with me? Now, this particular 10,000, should it be included in the value is the question. They said yes, because under 15 to B, clause B, this will become what payment? Direct third party payment. Made by whom? By Radha, the recipient. This payment should have been made by whom? Supplier. On behalf of supplier only, I'm making this payment. Is this payment in relation to the supply? Yes. Any incidental expenses directly paid by the recipient will have to be added back to the value. Now, how do I check whether it's a payment on behalf of supplier? We ask the question, if Radha did not pay, the engineer would have caught whom? Would be going to catch Caterpillar, the supplier. So this payment is on behalf of supplier. So all those conditions are to be satisfied. So then the value would be how much itself here? 1,10,000. They said the value has to be added. The 10,000 direct third party payment should be added back to the value because the invoice would have been issued by engineer to Caterpillar only. Okay. Then the same example, if I change slightly, the answer would change. Say Caterpillar says we don't do certified machines. We'll send you the machines. We'll give you a contact number of an engineer who will do certification as a service for you separately. Radha paid 1 lakh rupees to Caterpillar and then got the machine, went to an engineer, gave him the machine, paid him 10,000 rupees, he did the certification. What will be the value of supply for Caterpillar here? Because this 10,000 is not on behalf of supply. And if the payment is not received, the engineer will catch Radha only, not the supplier. So all the conditions are to be satisfied. Clause C. What is that clause C talks about? Incidental expenses incurred by the supplier in relation to supply at the time or before the goods are ready for delivery or supply of services and charged by the supplier to the recipient will be added to the value. So they're saying any incidental expenses, any related expenses to the supply incurred by whom? Supplier in relation to the supply at the time of or before the goods are ready for delivery or supply of service and charged by the supplier to the recipient will be added to the value. Let's take an example. What are the incidental expenses they generally test you with? I'll give you a bunch of incidental expenses. What does that they mean? They mean any expenses that is incurred by supplier. So there will be expenses that you can separate. What they are trying to do basically, in the bill, they are separating this. They're saying that, see, packing charges, testing charges, inspection charges, installation are incurred, weighment charges are incurred, warranty, additional warranty, cost of instrument, specially purchased for you. All of this I'm putting as a separate line item in the invoice and I'm saying should not be included in value. But all of these are my cost. You have to differentiate between your cost and a agent payment. We will try to understand the differences. All of these are your cost of providing services. The same, these are incurred by supplier in relation to the supply he is making. To make this supply only I have incurred. My contract is including this as a service from my side only. Okay, I'm going to give you a packed product. Now packing charges is not an expense incurred by my customer. My product is a packed. My supply includes installation for you. I incur the cost for that. All of this should be added to the value. Otherwise, what people will do? They'll separate all their expenses. The profit only will be the value for them, right? They can do this kind of a structure that they don't want to do. Okay, that's it. All of these are agreed payment. It's our expenses that is incurred by the supplier in relation to supply. It's incurred till the time goods are ready for delivery, which means it is loaded to the product. When I go to the shop and then I say that how much is for this TV, they include all those costs into the product price. Okay, and finally, these expenses are also collected from the customer, will be added to the value. Understanding? Okay, that's the whole thought process of it. Let's try to understand this further with an example. Giving you a couple of examples to understand this. This is company called ID Fresh. I don't. Is it popular here? Quite popular in Bangalore. Yeah. So every shop they place themselves as a premium, high quality idli dosa batter, and we are all lazy. We don't want to make a batter, so we buy the batter, and half of our breakfast is half of South India's breakfast is idli dosa only. So not half, 90%. So they said it's a huge market that's available, and more people are being lazy. They don't want to make it at home, so we'll buy this and then do. Now I'll tell you the structure in which this transaction I'm going to put it across. So I'm saying this company called ID Fresh. ID Fresh is a case study for placing the product as premium. I remember the moment they were trying to penetrate the market. Somewhere I was still working at the bank at that time. So, working in the bank, not planning to eat breakfast outside, want to make something, you don't know how to make anything else other than dosa. So you basically go for this stuff. But then you're scared to buy this instant product, right? Will you fall sick by doing that? So you go to the shop and then you find, I remember 2000, 15, 16 at that time. My brother only initially, my cousin is settled in Bangalore. He only told me about he's the one who tells me about all the new startup because at that time startup only comes in Bangalore. They experiment the Bangalore first. So every time he says he'll call me and we have a conversation. He'll say that this is new startup has come. So it's like for a Keralite, this product has actually got into the market by selling Malabar Parota. Okay, so there's this, yeah, so there's this, Kerala emotional food item for a Malayali. I'm not a fan of that. But then, yeah, most of the Malus are a fan of Maida Parota. Okay, which is, okay. So, yeah, yearly once I get the craving for that, but then I'm not a regular eater. Yeah. Some one fine day I'll get the cravings for it, like ice creams. I get yearly 2-3 times I'll get craving for ice cream. I wanna, especially when it rains. I wanna have an ice cream. So I'll go find some places. There's something called naturals. I don't know whether you have naturals here. Natural ice cream. That's my favorite. So I have one flavor I take. So yeah, when it rains only, I'll feel like okay, I wanna have an ice cream. Likewise, I get this parota thing. So he said that the biggest problem in Bangalore Malayali is that the Kerala community was that they're not getting good Malabar parotas in Bangalore. Okay, so the one is very crispy and all that. Then he finally called me one day and said, I was in the bank at that time. Rizul, you know that this new company is there, yeah? It's really good parotas they make. Instant parota, he buys it, heat it, and then have it. He said that it's pricey, but it's premium. So then I went to the nearby supermarket and I saw this, that they have a separate fridge, which is their own fridge. Like all these ice cream companies also do that. They buy the fridge and then keep it in the supermarkets so that people identify them as premium. Like you find some known branded fridge, then you see an ice cream, it's like, what ice cream is this? Then you see Mercedes, then suddenly you'll feel like, okay, some branded one only. Okay, so you say that's the whole, attachment to the brand. So they did some good thing there. So there used to be a separate fridge that you can see in transparent. This product alone kept. The whole fridge is only with this product. Then you suddenly there must be some nice product only, and we have no clue then we buy it. So that's the whole idea. I'm ready to pay that 2-3 rupees extra. That's their profit. Okay, they do the same. Anyway, so ID Fresh, the company says that we make only idli dosa batter. Packing is not our product. So they outsource the whole packing. It's only for example, okay, they do their packing. Now, for the example purposes, I outsource the entire packing. Okay, I'm the one, who's running ID Fresh, this department operations. We outsource the entire packing. So I say that 1 liter of idli dosa batter is 100 rupees priced for me. 10 rupees is packing charges, which is carried out by an packing agency outside. I'm charging the customer 100 for my product, 10 rupees the packing that they have to pay directly. Understanding? So I'm collecting how much from the customer? 110. 10 rupees I'll pay to so packing agencies I pay. Now, what will be the value of supply? My claim, my value of supply is only 100. 10 is not my supply. 10 is packing. Isn't that my cost of providing this particular product? Yes. Can I split this packing as separate and then say that it will not be included in value? No. So they're saying it will become what expense? An incidental expenses should be added to the value. That's the whole idea. So given a choices, people will do all the split. Okay. So this is purely your cost. So they said incidental expenses incurred by the supplier in relation to supply till the time goods are ready for delivery, and finally you get it from the customer will be added to the value. You guys understanding? Okay. One more product. Okay. Say you've seen this particular product. You must have seen the competitor for this, right? Okay. This is my product. Okay. I'm introducing you the original product. Okay. So that has been the most experimental product for me. Like I've never understood the pricing of the product called this product is priced reasonable. The competitor for this called Kinder Joy. I'm introducing a competitor called as Sundal Joy. Okay, you know the sundals, right? That you make peanut sundals and all that. No. It's in Tamil. Yeah, you boil the groundnuts and add everything, and then like this, I'm putting like. Anyway, so I'll tell you the whole. See, Kinder Joy is priced at some 40 rupees or 40. So precise, huh? Okay. Now, the cost of producing that must be less than 5 rupees for sure. Maybe 10 rupees, right? You've seen it's not even a good plastic that they give you. On one side only you have chocolates. The other side is some, you call it toy. It's some cardboard cut it into pieces and given there. The toy also the kids have to make. There's some paper that says that how to club this and then put it together. They said, okay, clubbing and all will take time. We'll put everything there, let them make it. It's like that. So it's more of an activity inducing the marketing only. Now suppose I'm creating and it's all rest everything must be marketing cost for them. It's such a popular product that you would find it in every supermarket, kept it at the right spots. Like on the chocolate segment, it's down because the little ones will not be able to access. On the billing counter, it's on the top because at the time of billing, you'll take this fellow, put it in your hand, then he'll be seeing Kinder Joy. Last time I was there in a shopping mall, like I was doing grocery shopping. Then there was a couple in front of me. Okay, and there is two little ones. The one is very little, not yet saying Kinder Joy. That kind of a size it is, very small one. There was another one which is very naughty. Is it must be in like some nursery or something, kindergarten's kind of a size. Okay. So this one, the elder one. This is a very interesting scene that I've seen. The elder one is doing helicopter on the floor. Helicopter is not separate helicopter. That fellow is helicopter. He's running around. He's on the floor. He's doing rounds and crying. One kid is there. He's crying like loud and he's making a round. He's just moving across and crying. It's like a helicopter crying. He's doing that. And I was not understanding. I'm with the car and I'm not understanding why this fellow is crying. And the mother is trying to console, shoo, shoo, and all saying. Father is standing as if it's someone else's kid. He's running like this. That fellow is not even bothered. So, and I'm observing from behind. I was like, what's happening? Why this fellow is not? And then I understood this little one was making, sounds. He's crying for Kinder Joy. The guys, the couple did not buy him a Kinder Joy, and he's on a strike. He'll finish the round only, get a Kinder. Finally, the mother took a Kinder Joy, gave it to him. Within fraction of second, it's like two different personalities. This fellow is with the Kinder Joy like this. I was like this. Where is the helicopter with the standing with the Kinder Joy happy? Not even best of Oscar actors can do this kind of a changeover in fraction of seconds. All done. Happy there. Like such a prestigious product for little kids, this Kinder Joy stuff. So I think it's very popular. Like it's like an apple in the kindergartens. That kind of a branding, they have done. I'm planning a competition. I'll beat this. My product is Sundar Joy. Instead of cashew nuts, we'll give peanuts and stuff like that. So little cheaper version. I'm pricing it 10 rupees instead of 45, just 10 rupees. But nobody is purchasing it because it's not available anywhere. Okay, so it's only in my factory it's available. Now, and selling and distribution company approached me and said, if you give me 20 rupees sales commission, we will ensure that it is reaching every supermarket in India. 10 rupees product, 20 rupees commission. I said, okay. I revised the price to 30. Now, I'm selling the product at 30 and I'm telling the GST department my value of the product is only 10. 20 rupees is the commission that I have paid separately, which will be not subject to GST on my product. It's a supplied service. Is my argument correct? No. Reason? It's an incidental expenses. Sales commissions are an incidental expenses incurred by the supplier, the Sundar Joy manufacturer, in relation to the supply, finally charged from customer. So all our products are loaded with so much of commission, you think. Okay, ultimately, all of it we are paying, but all of that will be added to the value. So understand that any of those could be added to the value. Examples now, let's look at packing charges, testing charges, inspection charges, installation charges, weighment charges, warranty, additional warranty. Let's look at weighment charges. So what's a weighment charges? Have you seen weighment charges? So there's something called as weighbridge. Okay. So most of these large B2B supplies, we cannot weigh them once it reaches the recipient's location. Say, I'm sending 50,000 kg of product from my factory to another factory. Can the customer, the moment 50,000 is unloaded, can he take each one and weight it? Not possible. So there's a concept of weighbridge. So I'll take my lorry to the weighbridge, weigh it before the goods and after the goods, and certify that this is the quantity that was there. So it's basic thing. Now this is paid by me, ultimately collected from the customer, will be added to the value. It's my cost of making the supply. So weighment charges. Warranty and additional warranty also, there's a clarification which says that will be subject to GST, will be added to the value. They're saying warranty and additional warranty is an expenses for you. Even though the wordings are generally what? Free warranty. Right? We use this word like free warranty for 3 years, right? There's nothing called free warranty. I'll tell you the two products. A product without warranty and product with the 3-year free warranty. Which will price more? A free warranty, it should be the same price, right? No, right? So is it free? No, it's just a marketing jargon which says free. Most of the times there's a clarification or there is the understanding that we keep this here is, if I'm saying, say, Philips as an electronic company is providing you 5-year free warranty, which means that Philips will be paying an X amount of money to keep your warranty done to somebody else. They're incurring an expense or they're maintaining a service network to ensure that if you give it for services, somebody is there to replace that. So it's an expense only. So warranty and additional warranties are also added to the value. As and when you pick warranties, will be added to the value. Then cost of instruments specially purchased. If there is any any instrument that you purchase specially to do something for a supply, that will also be added to as a cost of that particular supply will be added to the value. Let's try to understand another concept. Go to the next page and we'll try to look at F4 contracts there. You remember our discussion on F4 contract? What is F4 contract? In F4 contract, who is arranging transportation? Supplier or the recipient? Supplier. When the contract is for delivery at the buyer's premises, that pricing is called as FOR pricing. If the contract is for delivery at my own location or in front of my factory, the pricing is called as X factory pricing, right? This is the logical understanding we have made about it. So the pricing is FOR pricing, which means I'm talking about delivery at the location of the recipient. Now I'm incurring an additional delivery charges to take the product from my location to the customer's location, and I will be charging this from whom? Supplier will be charging finally from the customer. So delivery charges will be added to my price either, or will be separately collected also in my F4 contract. Okay. Now you think about this way. If there is F4 contract, should the delivery charges be added to the value? Yes. So the next question is, in what section would I substantiate that delivery charges are to be added to the value? Is it incidental expenses? So generally there are two ways in which I can argue that. Number one, incidental expenses. But incidental expenses wordings, if you look at it, specifically talks about expenses incurred till the time goods are ready for delivery. They're not talking about expenses you incur after or for the delivery, right? So you can say either, instead of using it as incidental expenses, you can substantiate, say that this could be a composite supply of supplying goods as well as providing you the delivery services. If you do that also, what will be the principal supply? Goods only. So the in ancillary supplies will be anyway added to the value. So you can substantiate it, if not under 15.2, he can substantiate it under section 8, composite supply. That's a clarification they have given here. So it said delivery at buyer's premise, where supplier is arranging for transportation and insurance as a part of the contract, will be an FOR contract or free road contract. It's a composite supply of goods plus delivery plus transit insurance. Principal supply is what? Supply of goods. So value of freight and transit insurance are added to the goods. That's an understanding we have. Next, clause D. Let's look at what is clause D says. Interest, late fee, penalty for delayed payment of consideration will be added to the value. That was the example that I've given. In case, say, I'm selling the product at 5,000. I'm saying delay for 1 week. I'll collect a 5,000 interest. I'm saying this interest should not be included to the value. No, because 15.2D says that interest, late fee, penalty. They're even giving other words because the nomenclature should not be the reason why you are not including. Be it an interest, be it a penalty, be it a late fee. But as long as you are charging something additional for delayed payment of consideration will be added to the value. There are two notes that we have given there. First one is a section called 12.6 and 13.6. If you remember our discussion that we had in time of supply, subsection 6 is something that we did not discuss, right? I told you that time of supply in subsection 6 is more appropriate to discuss together with value of supply. We are there now. We're saying such interest, late fee, penalties, etc. should have a separate time of supply under section 12.6 and 13.6, has been one of the favorite question area for the examiner. They've made a lot of questions on this. There's a time of supply for such enhanced consideration would be a date of payment of interest, late fee, penalty, etc. Similarly, generally interest needs to be assumed to be inclusive of GST. Let's take an example to understand this point in full. I've given you a transaction. We will have this transaction repeated with other examples also. So remember these two parties. Okay, so show me wholesaler, MyG retailer. Okay, MyG is like your Uh, Big C or B New. What is it? B New, right? Yeah. Today's newspaper had like the first page full B New. Redmi 12 Pro or something. Some Xiaomi phones also. Today's Deccan Chronicle has it. I saw it in the hotel this morning. Anyway, so I thought then I understood like B New is bigger than Big C, is it? Big C is bigger than that. Oh, maybe they're trying to compete with each other now. Okay, so it's like that. Xiaomi is selling mobile phones on 10th Jan 2022. Okay, so whatever written in green, you try to read it, testing your eyesight. You can decide whether you want spectacles or not based on that. Already having spectacles, right? Yeah, you can think about what kind of do you want to change to a Carl Zeiss lens or a SLR lens based on the second design. Okay, anyway, MyG is getting the phones from they're doing this transaction for the first time. Assume that this wholesaler is working with this retailer for the first time from 10th Jan 2022. Okay, first time. And it's a credit transaction. It's a credit sale made by Xiaomi wholesaler to MyG retailer. On 10th Jan 2022, the mobile phones are delivered and invoiced, and that's for 5 lakh plus 90,000 GST. Whenever there is credit transaction for the first time with wholesaler and retailer, would the wholesaler trust the retailer? No. What if they don't pay would be the first concern that they have. So they had this sales term. What is that sales term was saying? If the payment is not made within 3 months, interest at the rate 5,000 per month or part would be applicable on this. When was the supply made? 10th Jan 2022. It's under forward charge. Can you identify the time of supply for Xiaomi in this case? Is it goods or service? Goods. Which section would be applicable? 12. Is it forward charge or reverse charge? Forward charge. Which subsection would be applicable? Subsection 2. 12 subsection 2 says time of supply for supply of goods is date of invoice or due date of invoice under section 31. Date of receipt of payment is omitted. Now, due date of invoice generally is date of delivery or date of removal. Here, date of delivery and date of invoices, both of them happen to be 10th Jan. So, in any question you see date of invoice and delivery to be the same date, the understanding or the question is trying to tell you that time of supply is also same date. With me? So, here the time of supply for Xiaomi is what date? 10th January. So, what will be the due date to deposit this taxes for Xiaomi? 20th of February. On or before 20th of February would be the due date. Now, payment needs to be made within how many days? Within 3 months. Else, what would be applicable here? Interest. Now, let's look at when did MyG make the payment. MyG made the payment on 5th of August. Is it within 3 months? No. What was the invoice date? 10th Jan. 10th Feb, 10th March, 10th April would have been the 3 months deadline. Now they made delay. How many months of delay do I have? How many months of delay? Question number 1. Whether MyG is liable to pay interest and how much? Okay, so 10th April is 3 months. 10th May, 10th June, 10th July, 10th August would made it 4 months. 5th August I made. Still in our example, we'll take it as 4 months. And then 4 months, each month they would pay an interest of 5,000. So they pay how much? 20,000 additionally apart from the invoice amount of 5,90,000. 20,000 additionally to be paid to Xiaomi. Now Xiaomi is happy with it, right? They invoiced 5,90,000, they got 20,000 extra. Now, is government thinking as a partner for this also? Yes. Is this 20,000 interest collected by the supplier for delayed payment of consideration to be added to the value? Yes. Under which section? 15 subsection 2 clause D. What is 15(2)D says? Interest, late fee, penalty for delayed payment of consideration would be added to the value. Understanding? So the first question that I have multiple questions for this case study. Number 1, whether MyG is liable to pay interest, how much? 20,000? Yes. Is that interest of 20,000 subject to GST? Yes, as per 15(2)D. What was the time of supply for Xiaomi to pay taxes? Time of supply 10th of Jan 2022 itself. How much was the GST that is payable on or before 20th of February then? How much will be the GST payable? It is 90,000. That is the GST in the invoice, right? Can I ask Xiaomi to pay GST on this 20,000 also on or before 20th of February? No, does not make any sense. Because 20th of February, was there an interest also? No, interest itself came after. Interest itself, that concept of interest itself came only after they delayed it beyond 3 months. That's 10th of April. So I would know the interest only when they pay. So it does not make any common sense to ask them to pay taxes based on predicting whether there will be an interest, right? So can I have the same time of supply for paying taxes on the original invoices as well as the interest? No. Are you guys understanding? So what will be the time of supply for interest then? Can I have the same time of supply? No. That's why they added an additional subsection in time of supply, subsection 6, and said whenever you receive an additional consideration, the initial consideration was 5,90,000, now I'm getting 20,000 extra, that enhanced consideration, that additional amount I received will have a separate time of supply, and that will become the date of payment of such interest. In our cases, when did they make this particular payment? 5th of August. That will be the date of supply or time of supply for interest. What will be the due date then? 20th of September. Is that fair? Yes. So Xiaomi will end up paying two GSTs. First 90,000, due date would be 20th of February. Next 20,000, time of supply is 5th of August, the date of payment, and due date would be on or before 20th of September. Two payments there. What is the relevance of this? What if they ask you in an examination question, value of supply and GST payable for a month? Can you include this interest into that month? No, I should include interest for the liability of the month in which interest was received. You guys with me? So that's why all computations I'm forcing you to write the month on the top. It's for this. I can have this difference. Time of supply can be different for you. With me? Okay. Now, that's the first note that we have put in. The second note that we had. What was the second note that we had? So we said, let's go ahead and then read the first note. Such interest, late fee, penalty, etc. will have a separate time of supply, that is 12.6 and 13.6, which says time of supply for such enhanced consideration would be date of payment of interest, late fee, penalty. It is generally assumed that such interest, late fee, penalty are inclusive of GST. What's your general assumption? Unless the question tells you otherwise, we assume whatever interest that you have received would be including GST. This 20,000 beyond that. So it's a general assumption because general trade practice is that nobody pays you delayed interest plus GST. So whatever 20,000 that you get would be the lump sum. So what we have to assume? That 20,000 is including GST. So your GST amount would be how much? So you have to do, what will be the value? 20,000 multiply with 100 divided by 118. How much would be GST? 20,000 multiplied with 18 divided by 118. So the value and the GST would be computed separately. So how much is the value? 16,959 and 3,051 would be the GST amount, right? So you'll have to compute it like that always, unless otherwise the question tells you. Sometimes question would say that all the amount that is given are excluding GST. Then interest also we can assume it like that, just for that. But practical sense, we'll always assume it to be including GST. So how much will be the value? How much will be the GST? 20,000 into 100 divided by 118, 16,949 and 3,051. Okay. Now, the liability to pay 90,000 comes on or before 20th of February. The liability to pay 3,051 would come on or before 20th of September because of the time of supply difference. Now let's look at the documentation. MyG has got a invoice, tax invoice on 10th of January, which had a GST amount of 90,000. MyG took credit of this 90,000 in January. Now MyG got another document for interest. What document will I issue? Can I ask them to issue one more invoices? No, because invoice requires a supply. Are they making one more mobile phone supply? No, this is an interest. So it's an update on the existing invoice. Once invoice is issued, once invoice is declared with the government, you cannot issue another invoice without a supply. So you have to update that invoice. To update that invoices, there are two documents that will be used called as debit note or credit note. Here, I want to increase value on taxes or reduce value on taxes. Increase value on taxes. To increase value on taxes, you issue a document called as debit note, or it's called as supplementary invoice. So Show Me will here issue a supplementary invoice quoting the original invoice and say that there is an additional value of 16,949 plus 3,051 GST would be mentioned there. By getting this debit note or supplementary invoice, can MyG take another credit? Yes. Of how much? 3,051. With me? Okay, so we have learned 3 documents, now added one more. We had learned document called tax invoice, delivery challan, bill of supply, now debit note. What is the concept of debit note? Debit note is issued when I want to increase value or taxes. Who will issue to whom debit note? Supplier will issue to recipient. All the documents in GST is issued by supplier to recipient. Then what's the next one? Clause E. What is that clause E talks about? Clause E talks about subsidies directly linked to the price. Until I now highlight this word, we are only talking about direct subsidy, which is subsidy you will get only when you make sale of a product. Okay, it's linked to the price is the understanding. Then you're asking a question, is it a direct subsidy or is it an indirect subsidy? First question, it should be a direct subsidy. Direct subsidy means you get the subsidy when you sell. It's linked to the price. Okay, linked to the price or linked to the supply is also correct. Okay, now if it's government subsidy or non-government subsidy is the next question. If it's a government subsidy, it's not included as consideration. So we can say government subsidy can be reduced from value. Okay. If it's a non-government subsidy, you should treat it as your part of consideration. So you would treat it as part of your value. So you cannot reduce it. So is it subject to GST? Yes. It cannot be reduced. If it's already reduced, what you should do? Add it back to the value. Right? But if it's an indirect subsidy, like subsidy received for setting up plant or any general subsidies, it cannot be reduced from value even if it's government. Other than government, of course, not reduced. Even if it's government, you cannot set it off. So that is something that we will ignore in doing the computation. Let's look at some example to understand that. Classic example would be an electric vehicle. Okay, so all the EVs, not every EV, but most of the EVs do have an eligibility for subsidy, right? Now the prices are much lower because you get a FAME 2 subsidy. So there's a government scheme which is going on around for EV subsidies are there. Now your brands, like there are multiple popular EV brands, right? This is Ola Electric. But there are multiple conditions for you to get the subsidy. It's not available. There's this Ather, there's another brand. Okay. I think TVS also has TVS, Bajaj, all of them. Hero, everybody has electric models now. I booked this and I cancelled because their services are really bad. Like I did not get the product only, like first of all. But now I think it's better. I hope so. Anybody is owning this? Not good, huh? It's bad only. So I ordered it like the moment they announced it. See, my ordering was like a brave decision. Okay, but I had a concept that I thought in my mind to order this. My concept was this: for any product which is new in technology, to settle that market, there should be a set of people called as early adopters who who can afford to buy the product even the product is bad. Then they contribute that money to product development. The company is getting more money now. They develop the product so that the masses will start adopting, so that the industry grow. So EV is the future, right? We don't want to consume a lot of fossil fuel. So we thought, okay, EV. So I said, so this their marketing was really good. Like you should learn from, Ola Electric on how you should make people part of their whole thing. They had this hashtag called as being part of revolution. Be part of revolution was their hashtag. This Bhavish Agarwal, the CEO, came in. So I think I don't remember the year now. Must be 22 or something. Okay, so in they announced it somewhere in June, saying they teased saying that it's gonna come, and on an Independence Day they announced saying that now we start booking. You pay 500 rupees, you be part of the revolution. So I saw a friend of mine talking about it over a conversation. I started researching about it. I said, okay, their plans were like superb. So I said, okay, let me be a part of revolution. First of all, I don't need a scooter. Second, I would never drive that stuff. I'm not a bike guy. I'm more of a car guy. I prefer to be in an air conditioned environment. Aram say drive it out. I don't want to take a scooter on and then not. But I still decided. I like there are a lot of bike persons. I'm not a bike person. Okay, so last time I did a bike trip was like a faculty's bike trip, and I will never do that again. All the faculties in South, we had a group. Okay, so one fine guy said that we need to do, and all bad decisions came from that Vijay movie. Vijay came out with a movie called Master. So he put a song called Vati Coming. This faculty got motivated by this Vati coming. He put a poster saying Vati ride. All the masters together, we go for a ride before so there was a marathon session that was coming in. So before the marathon season starts for the classes, let's refresh by going for a ride. So I asked them, can I take my car? He said, no, only bike ride. So all of us had to have a super bike. That's the idea. So my neighbor had a very close friend of mine. He had a Thunderbird. So I took the Thunderbird. There was a friend with the Ninja. There was a friend with the BM. We had like all the best vehicles. There was a Desert Storm, like so many, Continental GT and all those very fancy vehicles. Okay, I still have one Insta reels on like all this vehicle that moves across. We went for a ride. It's in a hill town in Wagaman. It's a 2 days ride, and I still remember we had so much of drive that I came back. My back was bad. The ride was refresh before your classes. I had to take 2 days rest after the ride. What kind of refresh is that? I remember the last part of the drive and all that. I was sleeping on the tank. Then I was driving. Like, I don't want to drive this stuff. But the vehicle was so good, it was still taking me across. You never had to balance or anything. The vehicle is so big and then so nice that it goes just like that. But it was so tiring because there's so much of sun. You're driving. After some time, you want to sleep only on the bike. So it's like that. So we did all this. It was fun, but 2 days after that, next year also, he said, let's do Vati ride season 2. I said, only with the car. I'm not coming. He said, no, bike only. That's the last time. So I ordered this Ola electric vehicle. And I still remember, I was super excited. I put a post and all that. Being part of revolution, booked Ola electric. So I'm the early adopter, right? So they had only announcement. See, look at the confidence of mine. This company was a cab riding app company. Never manufactured any bikes in the past before. I'm trusting them to buy a new scooter with them. It was that electric. It was costing 1,30,000 or something. It's like 30 or 150 or something like that. I don't remember. So it's some S1 or Pro or something like that. Yeah, that was the one that I booked. So for 6 months, they took the 500 rupees booking money, but no other update. There's only announcement came. Vehicle, no update, nothing. So, yeah, they put a mobile app or a website or something, wherein they will show us that we made a payment. You're being part of revolution and all is there. Yeah. So some 6 months got over, no updates. So one fine day, this fellow came back and again updated. No vehicle, okay. So they're putting, see, they had the only confidence. They bought this company called Ethergo in Sweden, and then that's what they are not doing anything. So I know that company knew how to make scooters, so they'll make something. Then after 6 months, they started collecting money. So they said now you can pay some part of the payment, some 30,000, 40,000 rupees you can pay. Then you get priority in booking. I said part of revolution, right? I'll pay and then be priority in it. Let them have money so that they'll research on this. I paid that money also. Then they said EMI option is there, ICICI Bank and all that. But none of the EMI was available to me. So then they said if you want you can make full payment. I paid full payment. I said, okay, let's just be the part of the revolution. Then they made some sample models. They brought it to multiple cities and then allow people to do a drive. So they came to Kochi also. I went with a friend of mine. So we both, drove it like some. They'll allow only to do one round, like some 500 meters. They said no, don't go beyond that, because what if it does not work after that? So they don't know how to do anything. It's sample model only. So we drove. It was fine. Drove, took one round. He also took one round, and then we gave it back the vehicle. Then they said after the test drive is over, they gave me another link. If you want, you can make the rest of the payment. I made full payment. Being part of revolution. I did that. Then another 3 months, no update at all. They're going to deliver. And they had very different structure planned. No service center, no dealers, direct delivery. It's like an Amazon delivery. They'll come, below my flat. They'll call, your vehicle is with me. Why don't you take it? Then I sign and then I take the vehicle. That's the plan. No update for another 3 months. So one fine day, they said, now you can upload. They are going to register and then deliver, because only a dealership can register with it. So they have local agents in every state. They're going to register and deliver. So they gave me, there was another, okay. So one fine day, I was actually traveling to my hometown. And I was driving and then suddenly I got a call. I said, sir, we're calling from Ola Electric customer care. I said, like, how? They've already come. Before I give my details, they have come and they're registered or what? So I said, yes, please tell me. So you've booked an Ola Electric? No, of course, yes. Being part of. Then they told me, sir, we have a problem with your registration. I said, what is it? Sir, the details that you've uploaded for your Aadhaar has an address in your hometown. Which means in my hometown is in northern part of Kerala. Kannur is the place name. So that's where my Aadhaar is there. So I've taken different registrations at different part of time. So my license is a Tamil Nadu license and I have Aadhaar card in my hometown and I'm living in Cochin. So they said your Aadhaar card or your delivery address is actually in a place which is not serviceable like Kannur. And you've asked for a delivery in Cochin. I said, that's where I live. I need delivery there only. They said, no, sir, like our agent who's registering has told that he cannot register in Kochi with your document details. Then they told, we don't have operations in Kannur yet, so we can't deliver in Kannur. I said, okay. You tell me the next thing, no? That's all they have. Sir, we can't deliver there. We don't. I said, like, what is that? I thought they wanted to give me the solution also. Then I said, okay. So that's it, sir. We can't. I'm like, what? Then you shouldn't have gotten money from me, right? Everything is over now, then you can't register. I said, I cannot do anything on this. You have to find me a solution for it. So then I said, can you give it to see? And I told him, your answer is wrong because I have a car registered in Cochin. Bike registration cannot be more complicated than a car registration. I have the same address. I have a car registered. So I can talk to my agent who did the car registration for me. I can give you my addresses proof. I can give it. So then they said, yeah, sir. Then I said, you give it connected to your superior or someone, connected to some manager. I spoke to him. I said, this is how I did it. Why don't you talk to your agent? He said, sir, we'll talk to the agent and then give. Then I thought, okay, they'll come back. But then I was driving still back to the home. And then they called me and they said, so can you upload those? Can you give me a notarized copy that you're living there and with a proof that you have a office there and there with an address proof? And can you, the advocate has to notarize, it seems. So can you give it before today? Because today, if you give me, then I can put it into the delivery channel. Otherwise, some holidays coming, something you're saying. I said, it's very difficult. I'm not there in Cochin. Then I called up a friend of mine who's an advocate. Said, man, I'm not there. But this company is insisting. So can you notarize it for me? He said, yes, he'll do it. So I sent somebody from office, did all the thing. So I got, by the time I reached, I got the document. Notarized document is there with me scanned. And I'm going to upload on the document in that particular portal. When I open the portal, it says your documents are approved. I'm like, did I already upload or what happened now? What is it? Oh, maybe I thought, okay, this fellow influenced and then suddenly made everything all right. So I did not upload, but I said, what I did is I took their email ID, send it to them separately. I said, I know that you have approved it, but still, in case you need, I'm attaching this document, you know. So I send them over a mail also separately. Extra precaution. 2 months got over, no reply from there. I'm like, what's happening? Then after 2 months, I got another call from Ola Electric. Then I picked the call. I said, sir, we've been trying to reach you for the last couple of days. I said, I didn't get any call. I said, okay, fine. What is it? Sir, we are calling from Ola Electric. So we have a problem. I said, what problem? Sir, your Aadhaar card address is there in your hometown. I was like, what? Yeah, the same conversation only I had like 2 months back. Same conversation. Sir, our registration agent says that we cannot register in Cochin because your Aadhaar card is in that. We don't have this location there in your hometown because we can't register. Sir, what is happening? Is it like the same conversation recorded coming back? I asked them the same. Then I understood. Ola Electric fired everyone in their support center. And the whole process got delayed. Then they're putting new people calling the same person and then analyzing the same thing. Same story. Same thing. So they had a very bad time initially when they were starting. But by the time I had made enough conclusion about Ola Electric. From being part of Revolution to don't want to be part of this brand at all kind of an, because they have already, I said, if the customer care center is like this, they have a centralized support, right? If I want to do service, whom will I call? 2 months after only they'll reply next. What will I do? Extremely poor support. So I decided, and meanwhile there was one more reason. I decided I don't want this vehicle. From being part of Revolution, not at all wanting the vehicle. Reason, one of my friend who also was part of Revolution had already got the delivery. His address was matching. So this fellow was driving, okay. He said already put it on the social media and all that. I got it, part of Revolution, hashtag. He got the vehicle onto the roads. He got on top of the bridge. On the top of the bridge, this stopped working. It stopped working. And the funniest part of this vehicle is, this does not have a key. Because it's some, like mobile phone, you put the pin number and then it starts. That is off. There is no switch to switch it on and all. It's not opening. It's the whole thing got off. You cannot call him, no, open. You cannot, it will not work now. There is no switch to, like on the vehicles and all that, we generally tie the key, the ignition by the key. There is no key only. It's on the top. And this vehicle, when it's locked, no, it will not even move. It won't even move. It was there. He cannot put it down. He cannot bring it back. Nothing on the top. But he has no problem, no? We have centralized service center. He called the centralized service center. They said, we'll come in 3 hours. In the blazing sun, this fellow, what he did, no? He parked it on the bridge, took a photo and put it on the social media. He said like, waiting for the service center to come for my Ola Electric being part of Revolution. Where's the service? Meanwhile, there were so many newses that was coming about this vehicle not having the good service. Somebody put it on fire. There was one more news I saw. Somebody was taking this vehicle has a reverse gear also. Somebody was driving it. They put the front. It went reverse. I said, that's super dangerous. I wanted to be part of Revolution, not be a martyr to the Revolution. Think you're in a national highway. You're waiting for the signal. Behind there is an NP lorry. You're like, dude. I said, no, I don't want to be. So I decided to cancel. You know what they said? So they called me up and they said, by the time I've already made my mind that I'll cancel this stuff. So they called me up. And then I said, nothing doing now. No thing. I've had enough time with you guys. You might have that, this. No, I want to cancel. They said, sir, you can't cancel. I said, what? Sir, we've already issued invoice to you. It's already invoiced. We cannot cancel. Then I asked him, can you deliver? No, sir, we cannot deliver. Like, what kind of answer is that here? They said, you can't deliver because your address is not matching. We can't cancel. We've already raised the invoice. Then I had another 5-minute conversation with them, but this time I had to use my mother tongue. I could not converse in sophisticated English. So I told them, I still remember what I told them. I told them, like, if you don't give me, if I don't get the refund in next 30 minutes, I'll see you in High Court of Kerala. This is what I told them. 15 minutes refund came. It's very nice technique, no? I should have said that long back. So I wrote them a mail and all that. It's like I was so really dejected by that. I sent them, I really wanted to be part of this, and this is what you've done to me. Don't want. Now I've decided no new brands, no new technology. I want to be part of any revolution. I will buy only after this technology is settled. I still have that intention. Sometimes I'll get excited when there is a new product. Should I buy? Then I'll think about Ola Electric. And no, I don't want to do that. Anyway, but then they improved. Now these are the highest selling EV in India today. These people, they now have experience centers. They have service centers, because otherwise it's not possible. No, they understood that it was all a mistake. I have a couple of close friends who's now working in high positions there in Ola Electric. They told me that they had lots of revamping that is done. Still, the product is not best yet. It still has a lot of issues. Now they're releasing a new model which has a key. They understood, okay, needs to have a key and all that. Yeah, so they're now having some, I think, they're going for an IPO. I will not buy, for sure. I'm out of this, no revolution anymore. But their product is priced very competitive compared to Ather or other. And the main reason is they get all the FAME 2 subsidies. Okay. Now look at this. Say Ola Electric is bought by a customer. The actual price of Ola Electric is 2 lakh. Okay, I'm just giving an example. 80,000 for them comes from FAME 2 subsidy, which means the customer pays only 1,20,000. What will be the value? 1,20,000, because this 80,000 is it a direct subsidy? Yes. Can Ola Electric get this subsidy without selling the product? No. This subsidy, direct subsidy, means it's a subsidy on linked to the sale, linked to the price of the product. You get the subsidy only when you make a sale. That's a direct subsidy. If it's a government subsidy, you will get to reduce that from the value, because that's not part of consideration. So 15 subsection 2 clause E is coming in. You don't have to include that in the value. Understanding? Then suppose, so what will be the value for Ola Electric? 1,20,000. Now, suppose, see, Ola Electric has this, all these reasons are the reason why I became part of the revolution. They put this photo here, very nice factory. You know, I said they have more capacity than Honda. I said Honda sells lots of Activas, right? So they have more capacity as such. But they're still not doing only like maybe 2 lakh, 3 lakh vehicles max. But in a year, I'm talking about, okay, not more than that. But heavily valued for the company as such. Okay, so Ola is claiming that they have world's largest e-scooter factory, and this is an animated picture. It is there still, except the trees around. The other things are there in the real picture also. It's there in Tamil Nadu. Assume that Tamil Nadu government decided to give 10 crore rupees as subsidy to Ola Electric for setting up this factory. Ola Electric is doing 100 crore turnover in a month. Can they net off this 10 crore and say that their value is 90? No, this is not a subsidy on the sale. It's not a direct subsidy. With me. So direct subsidy is only on the sale, or means direct subsidy is subsidy directly linked to the price. This subsidy is an indirect subsidy, or like subsidy which is no connection with it. So any lump sum subsidy not connected and all that will not be reduced from value. Okay, so subsidy should be on the sale. Then we'll give you another example. Say Tesla, for example, the big boss, okay, in the Yeah, but then this company is now overtaken by a Chinese company called BYD. Build Your Dreams. That's the company. They are doing excellent. There was 2 days back. There was another model of them got released called BYD Seal. Looks like a stunning. It like looks like a Porsche vehicle. Looks mostly like a Porsche Macan. So kind of a or not or a Taycan. It looks like more. So this one vehicle that they have released now. It looks like a super vehicle. Like it's like a luxury segment kind of a vehicle. The Chinese builder only. So they do now sell more vehicles than Tesla. Chinese electric. The Chinese ones does not have any advertisement budget. Nothing. Just word of mouth. That's it. Now they're planning to get very big in India. So they are putting a lot of things. They're also expecting that their import restrictions will be removed. Import restriction has electric vehicle also in any vehicle industry. There's some restriction called some 2,500 vehicle only can be imported unless you prove that this vehicle is good and all that. There's some standard checking and that they want to do that. It seems. I saw the reviewers videos and stuff. It looks very nice. Now, anyway, Tesla decides to give some from their corporate social responsibility to Ola Electric. Every product that you sell, this generally happens with holding company to subsidiary company and all that. What they do is that every product that they sell, there will be some subsidies that is being given. Okay, so the Tesla decides to give 10,000 rupees for every product, so every scooter that is sold by Ola Electric. Would this subsidy be reduced from value? No. Okay, because it's not a. Is it a direct subsidy? Yes, the customer price is reduced, but it's not a government subsidy. It cannot be reduced from value. Understanding? Okay, now let's recap the provisions. So we've done 15.2 fully. Okay, so how many clauses we have in 15.2? We have 5 clauses. First one is taxes, duties, cess, fees, and charges levied under any law other than GST and GST cess. If charged separately by supplier from recipient will be added to the value. Direct third party payment by recipient on behalf of supplier in relation to supply will be added to value under 15.2b. C talks about incidental expenses incurred by supplier in relation to supply at the time or before the goods are ready for delivery or supply of services and charged. All of this has to be finally charged from recipient by the supplier. Charged by the supplier from recipient. Now, D is interest, late fee, penalty for delayed payment of consideration will be added to the value, and he talks about what subsidy? Direct subsidy directly linked to the price by non-government. If it is already reduced, will be added back to the value. These are the provisions that we have. Okay, let's look at some simple, straightforward questions for that matter. Onto the screen, everyone. AKJ Foods Private Limited gets an order for supply of processed food from a customer. The customer wants the consignment tested for gluten or specified chemical residues. AKJ Foods Private Limited does the testing and charges a testing fees for the same from the customer. AKJ Foods Private Limited argues that such testing fees should not form part of the consideration for sale as it's a separate activity. Is this argument correct? No, because testing fees would become what? Incidental expenses. 15.2c says it should be added to the value. Okay, so let's look at question 14 here. Dushyant rents out a commercial building owned by him to Bharat for a month of December, for which he charges a rent of 19 lakh 50,000. Dushyant pays maintenance charge of 1 lakh for the December month as charged by local society. These charges have been reimbursed to him by Bharat. Also, Dushyant has paid municipal taxes of 2,85,000, which he has not charged from Bharat. You are required to determine the value of supply and GST liability of Dushyant for the month of December, assuming CGST, SGST at 9% each. So the first question is this 1 lakh maintenance charges will become what expense? Incidental expenses. So I basically paid 1 lakh rupees and then finally charge it from my customer. So this is an incidental expenses that is being paid. So he has rented a property and there is some maintenance charges that is also there. I paid and got it from them. Okay. So it will become incidental expenses. This 2,85,000 tax is paid, but it is not collected from the customer. Should it be added to the value? No. Why? Transaction value is price paid or payable. Whatever is not payable is never added to the value. So only what is payable would be added to the value is the understanding we have.